The lighting keeps changing. I had other videos planned, but this is really important to talk about right now, and I really want to contribute to the conversation and point out a few things I've noticed about all of this that's been going on. Obviously, sensitive material is going to be referenced. I'm sorry. Please take care of yourself. If this is difficult to watch, please don't. If you've been a victim of James, I'm sorry. If you supported him, and I'm sorry that he betrayed that and that true colors are showing. James's entire video, No More Lies, was manipulation. It was to distract the audience and make them believe that he never did any of the things that were alleged against him, that he never used his fame, money, and power to manipulate people to behave actually in his favor, when in fact he has done that multiple times now. And that's the biggest lie of all, that he sat down in that video and said that he had never done those things to anybody, and then proceeded to do them close to a dozen times that we know of. He lied. And he lied to you. And he did this because he needed to protect his career, and he really felt that he did, because he acted invincible from basically that point on. For the next 2 years, he acted like he was untouchable and that he could do anything he wanted, because he was convinced that he would never be caught behaving this way again and hurting people the way that he has. He's not sorry for what he's done. He's sorry that he's been caught. Both videos, No More Lies and Holding Myself Accountable, have a theme. Holding Myself Accountable, he does the same thing as he did in No More Lies, where now he's not a 16-year-old. He's desperate, and those things are cover-ups for why he's behaving the way that he's behaving. They're not cover-ups, though. Those are not excuses, and you can still be a 19 virgin, and you can still hurt people. You can still hurt people physically, even. It doesn't really matter if you're 19. That language was so harmful at the time, and now he's trying it again by saying, oh, well, I'm desperate. No, that's not going to work this time. People are not going to fall for this. I hope they're not. I know that you can buy likes on YouTube, so I refuse to believe that as many people that have liked James's video have liked James's video. I believe that, you know, he did some things in there to make it look better than it actually is. And there were other things that were said in his original video that I kind of want to address, to show that there was a lot of lying and manipulation going on. The things that he promised, the things that he said he was going to do, and the things he said he didn't do all ended up being false. He didn't work on himself. He didn't stop this behavior. He's been steadily going ahead with this behavior for the past 2 years. And it's also very important to understand are not the stereotype you're probably thinking of. They can be successful, smart, funny, beautiful, lots of friends, charismatic, social. They can be all those things while still having tendencies and behaviors. You're not one or the other in life. It's probably the thing that is the most difficult about growing up in life. And your idols are not just good people because they're your idols. They can be bad people, and anything involving children is severe. We cannot have tolerance for that. This is not a quirky personality trait. This is not an oopsie, I did this and sorry. No, this is serious. And he's admitted on camera now that he has done this to at least 2 people who are underage. That's not a joke. And if we allow James to have a platform and support him, he will continue to harm the very people that look up to him. He will dip into his pool of fans and his pool of people that look up to him, and he will abuse his power the way that he's been abusing it for several years now. I personally believe that nothing's going to happen to James in terms of legal things, because he's made it very clear he was unaware of the victims' ages, or that he was lied to. In California, the rules are really, I'm not going to get this right when I say it, but basically, if you didn't know the age, if your intention was not to seek out someone younger, and they can't prove that that was your intention, you're not going to be facing legal consequences for the most part. Because James is sticking to, well, they lied to me, or I didn't know their age, and then it was unintentional. So if that's the case, we have to act as a platform and as individuals to not support him, because that's just disgusting. That you're going to somehow get away with this again. It's not an accident. These are his intentions. He's manipulating and he's lying to his audience again to try to recover his career and make it seem as though the original claims against him are not substantiated in anything. It's really hard to look at that now, to see this for what it is. You know, he's had a lot of things that he's said. I'll put the quotes up. You'll just have to believe me. I have literally no reason to lie at this point. You have every reason to be lying. We can't just act like this is normal behavior. He had these claims the past few years now that he might not be okay, that he might have an issue with underage individuals, with straight guys, with this, with that. predatory behavior, it's not just directed at one group of people. He's done such a good job up to this point of convincing everybody that he can do no wrong, that he's just normal and everything's fine and these were all accidents and he had no idea what he was doing. And it's just so important for people to understand that he knows exactly what he's doing. And if we let him keep going, if people continue to support him and allow him to have a platform, he'll just continue this behavior. But the difference will be he'll make sure he doesn't get caught this time, because that again is why he's sorry. He's not sorry for what he did. He's sorry that he got caught. He mentions briefly that he is going through reflection on how he came to his desperation, and what he means is he's hopefully coming to terms with the fact that he has predatory behavior, that he's a predator. He uses clever wording in holding myself accountable and says that allowing myself to get into these situations, as if he just woke up and there were, again, like that he just woke up and there were just DMs and messages and Snapchats in his inbox of all these people, underage or not, or straight or not, and he had nothing to do with it. And it's like, you know exactly what you're doing. He wakes up every day in his mansion and he has thousands upon thousands of dollars rolling in daily. He's aware of his influence. He's aware that he gets restaurant reservations without having to try, that everyone wants to be his friend. He's aware of what he's doing. It's also so important that we call out people who are still supporting this behavior. James won't have the ability to hurt people anymore if he doesn't have a big platform. I mean, truthfully, he wouldn't have the ability to hurt anyone if he was behind bars, but I mean, he'd have much less of an opportunity of hurting people to the capacity that he has already if he didn't have a platform. And the people that continue to support him, follow him, like his stuff, they are contributing to that. As of today, it's April 5th, Monday. These are the people that I found that still follow James. They still give him the follow. They still support him. Unfollow him. Stop giving him a platform. Stop showing that it's okay to support him, because your audience that's young and impressionable is going to see you still following this person, and they're going to use that as a way to be like, well, this isn't that big of a deal. Yes, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Laws exist for a reason. Going after someone that is several years your junior is not appropriate behavior. Something that James had said, Logan said it to him in the podcast, and he said, I imagine it's going to be really difficult for you to find someone that you don't dwarf mentally. And James says, well, I think that's going to happen no matter what. He couldn't be bragging about the power dynamic anymore if he tried. He couldn't be bragging about the difference between him and a person on the street if he tried. Even though there is no difference, their lives are equal. James sees a huge difference. And he utilizes that when he goes and hunts people for his own pleasure. And he's bragging about it on this podcast. There are so many instances of him saying things that are very questionable, especially considering context, that you just kind of are sitting there being like, well, what do you mean? I've talked to other guys who live in other states and stuff, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come and visit? And they're like, well, I can't afford the plane ticket. And it's like, okay, well, I can. So like, get on the plane. And they're like, well, I don't really feel comfortable with that, but like, I love you and I really want to be together. And I'm like, well, we can't be together because you can't afford a plane ticket. You're probably still in either high school or college, a senior in high school or college. So either you accept the flight and realize that this is what I'm bringing to the relationship so we can spend time together if you actually care about me, or we literally never meet because you can't afford it. He said that. That's not something you say when you've been in a healthy relationship. That's something you say when you're manipulating individuals on a daily basis. That's what that is. The part that makes me kind of sick is because of the manipulation and the lying in his original video, that created basically an empire for him. He was untouchable. He gained back millions of subscribers that he lost. It's got like 55 million views now on it, I think. And the majority of those people agree with him. The majority of those people sympathize with him, totally invalidating anybody who might have been hurt by him. He's got so many people in his circle that are trying to protect him. He's got friends that are protecting him. He has so many people making sure that nothing happens to him. And that's why he says he's acting reckless, because he knows he's pretty much untouchable, or at least he was. And so he wasn't following protocol. He wasn't being sneaky. He wasn't being careful. You know, he's still doing the same behavior that he's always done and that he's just been called out for. So many more underage, innocent individuals are going to get hurt if we continue to give James Charles a platform. He's clearly displaying zero remorse. He's hardly apologizing. He's claiming he's going to make all these changes to himself, that he's going to better himself, and these were all things that he promised to do years ago. And it's like, okay, so did you ever really do them, or did you just lie? He lied. He'll continue to lie, and that will just be what it is. We have to not give platforms, we have to take it away from them, especially when they admit to it on camera. James knows what he's doing, and he will continue to do it for years and years moving forward. I don't support that. I don't think that you should either. If you were friends with somebody and they did something that was really terrible, if you were a good person, you will call that out. That's the problem now. I'm going to put a bunch of resources below. If you've been affected by this, I'm really sorry, because this is just awful. And there's no excuse for it. James shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. Yeah, those are my 2 cents. I, really think it's important that we accept that sometimes the people we look up to, that we're friends with or anything, they can do bad things. And not everyone is going to be a good person. People are who they are, not who you want them to be. And James, at the end of the day, if you strip back all of the glamour and the glitz and everything, and he was just a regular person on the street, this isn't acceptable. And because you're famous, that should not excuse this. That's all I have to say. I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. And I will see you in the next one.